So imagine this, a whole regional summit, presidents lined up in their suits, cameras rolling, and then boom, one leader decides to pretend another doesn't even exist. Aish, awkward. That's exactly what went down at the latest SADC Summit when South Africa's Cyril Ramaphosa basically acted like Tanzania's president, Samia Suluhu, was invisible. Yo, the silence was so loud you could almost hear the Wi-Fi drop. Now, what made this moment pure gold for political drama lovers? It wasn't just the awkwardness, it was the timing. Tanzania's government had just been catching heat over a deadly post-election crackdown. So when Ramaphosa skipped the usual congratulations speech, everyone watching thought, wait, was that a subtle shade or did he just forget? Spoiler alert, the internet didn't think he forgot. Today, we're breaking down the spicy summit saga with 10 bold facts, a few eyebrow-raising moments, and that classic South African commentary that says what others won't. So grab your popcorn, fam. Let's get into the drama that shook the diplomatic table. When Ramaphosa stood up to open the virtual SADC Summit, his speech sounded like a masterclass in regional unity, until it didn't. He congratulated Malawi's president, sent condolences to Madagascar, and then skipped Tanzania like it was an ex at a wedding. The man read every name like a teacher taking attendance and just forgot Samia Suluhu. Please, man, nobody's buying that. If silence could trend, this one would have broken the internet, but the real spice was still simmering. Sitting in for Samia was Vice President Philip Mpango, who must have felt like the quiet kid at a noisy lunch table. He sat through the entire speech, waiting, hoping, maybe praying for just one line about his boss. But nope, nothing. It was like watching someone text good morning and getting seen. And if you think the VP's awkward silence was bad, wait till you hear what the online crowd said next. Africans on Twitter wasted no time. Memes started flying faster than election promises. One user posted, "Ramaphosa just showed us the quiet power move. No need to throw shade when silence does the job." Another joked, "Even Zoom meetings have more acknowledgement than Tanzania got." Yeah, you could feel the sarcasm buzzing across the continent. But while Twitter roasted, Ramaphosa was busy preaching peace and solidarity. Talk about ironic timing, ne? Ramaphosa went on about unity, mutual respect, and regional love. Meanwhile, Tanzania was sitting there like, hello, are we not part of this region, my guy? The contradiction was loud. His message was all about equality, but the moment screamed politics, and the audience noticed. Is that a classic do as I say, not as I do African edition? And just when you thought the diplomatic shade couldn't get deeper, the plot thickened. After social media backlash, the SADC Secretariat released a statement adding Tanzania's name after the fact. They suddenly remembered to mention condolences to those affected in Tanzania. Aish, that's like forgetting your friend's birthday and sending a message 2 days later saying, sorry, my network was bad. Everyone knew it was damage control, late and limp. But the embarrassment didn't stop there because Tanzania's VP still had to explain himself in front of the whole squad.
Vice President Mpango tried to assure everyone that Tanzania was stable and calm after the post-election unrest. He said life had returned to normal, but let's be honest, that's like a DJ saying the vibe is fine after the crowd's already left the club. Nobody was buying it. Reports from international observers said otherwise, and the US Embassy still warned of instability. So, while Tanzania tried to look fine on paper, the world kept side-eyeing the receipt. Now let's be fair, maybe Ramaphosa knew exactly what he was doing. Diplomacy isn't always loud. Sometimes it's the quiet moves that sting hardest. By skipping Suluhu's name, he sent a message louder than any public rebuke. It's like saying, we see you, but we don't see you. That's a cold strategic flex, if there ever was one. And that flex got leaders whispering and commentators clapping. The moment sparked side conversations in corridors across Africa. Leaders started whispering about how SADC would handle future unrest among its members. If Ramaphosa could ice out one member state that easily, what message does that send? Suddenly, every leader at that summit started checking their own headlines just in case they were next. And while the politicians whispered, the citizens laughed, because this was turning into free entertainment. Online commentators cheered Ramaphosa's silence, calling it a subtle stand for democracy. At least someone had the guts to not congratulate a dictator, one post read. Some said it was petty, others called it poetic justice. Either way, Ramaphosa became the accidental hero of diplomatic shade. But heroes in politics don't last long, right? Here's where the story took its last twist. By the end of the summit, SADC's official statement tried to fix the optics, but the damage was done. Ramaphosa's move had already set the tone. Silence can be louder than speeches. And for Samia Suluhu, it was a public embarrassment she probably didn't see coming. In the end, one man's quiet pause became a continent's loud conversation. And that, folks, is how one skipped sentence rewrote the entire SADC narrative. So there you have it. One summit, one speech, and one epic case of presidential ghosting that got everyone talking. From subtle shade to open memes, this saga showed that even in politics, silence can go viral. But here's the bigger picture. African diplomacy is changing. Leaders are realizing that every word, or lack of it, gets dissected online in seconds. Ramaphosa didn't need to shout. One quiet omission said it all. Whether it was strategy or coincidence, it definitely made history, and probably made Samia Suluhu's PR team sweat bullets. If you enjoyed that breakdown, smash that like button, subscribe to @GlobalPulse News, and tell us in the comments, was Ramaphosa being smart, savage, or just plain shady? And hey, don't forget to check out our sister channels @SparklingKids and @RimaFatima for fun learning and entertainment for the whole family. Let's grow together and be your voice, one story at a time. Stay sharp, stay woke, and remember, silence speaks volumes, bruh.